Turn the lights back on. Wow. Retro electro tech. When real audio ruled the world.
Greetings once again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Retro Ernest of Retro Electrotech. And on the bench is a Claricon solid state, as you can see, AM, FM, stereo, and 8-track player. One of which I performed an evaluation on already some time back. Here's the faceplate here. Some of you might recognize it. And it wasn't a priority, so it ended up toward the back of the line, and I'm now getting back into performing the final repairs. I'm going to go over what I did so far, and I may miss a few things here and there, but that's okay, because this had a few things going on. When I first performed the initial function testing and whatnot, I noticed that, you know, there was the usual intermittency, static due to dirty controls. As you can see, I'll bring up the faceplate once again. There's these four, you know, big sliders, VRs, whatever, and over time dirt gets in there, debris and all that, and cruds up the controls, and they get a bit intermittent, staticky. I was experiencing some diminished audio on the channels as well, and that was all squared away when I was testing the tuner anyways. You know, the AM FM, that was all squared away just by cleaning the controls. And I'm not going to obviously demonstrate that because I already did it, and I do a lot of that on this channel because, as I always say, that's just routine stuff that you have to do all the time with this old equipment. And anyways, but otherwise the problem with this is primarily with the 8-track. And the head was very, very, very dirty. And when I say very dirty, I mean very dirty. It was loaded with oxides and, you know, all that tape residue, oxides. And it took me a long time to clean that head. I mean, it was really, really bad. And it was, you know, one swab after the other. You know, they were all just turning black and very filthy. In other words, the head was just really clogged up. But that wasn't why the channel was lost, you know, with the 8-track side of things. I'm going to get into the troubleshooting aspect of that in just a moment, a little bit. And it's just going to be down and dirty troubleshooting, which is something I like to do because I like to show a lot of you guys that you really don't need fancy schmancy gear for sussing out these problems. This was just bare bones minimum troubleshooting as to what was going on with that dead right channel. So before I get into that though, I will just mention that I did pull the mechanism out earlier off camera. I didn't want to do that. I don't want this video to be horrendously long. And there wasn't really a lot to it. It was just a couple screws here in the back and then 3 on the front. And then of course you have to wrangle a few wires and all that. Like all these wires here that are for the lamps, the 4 lamps in the front for your program selection. Those came out, and as you can see here, the grommets there that were once rubber, they're all just hard as a rock now and deteriorated. Those are done, and I replaced them. I put some new grommets in there and whatnot. And of course, you know, I had to get those wires out of the way, which is why I did that. And then there were a few other wires here and there, and a little circuit board, the amp circuit for the 8-track side of things, that I had to kind of move out of the way too. So there's a few little wires, you know, I had to wrangle, and then pretty much it came out enough for me to disassemble what I had to disassemble, and you know, pull the flywheel off here and get into a little bit of the mechanism there, clean things up, do a little re-lubrication. You know, of course I had to get this flywheel out of the way to, you know, clean the head and all that, and so that was one thing. So but I didn't get into the troubleshooting aspect of it. I was saving that for the camera to show you guys how I went about doing that, and I at least wanted to film that for some of you, and we'll go from there. So let me dive on in. Okay, we're looking at the tape head, and it is a heck of a lot cleaner than it was before. As you can see from the previous evaluation video footage that I have up on the screen right now, once again, it is way cleaner than it was. There, was several layers of tape material and filth, as you can see, that took quite a while to get off the head surface there. I did the best that I could with what I had to work with, the time that I had to work with, and yeah, I think it'll be fine. There's some very minor surface pitting of the head, but other than that, I think it'll be fine. But it's, a heck of a lot better than it was. So let's go ahead and move on. And also, here's the lamps and the new grommets that I put in place. Okay, so what are we looking at here? We are at the bottom of the 8-track mechanism. These are the 2 cables from for each channel from the tape head, and again, like I said, we had a dead right channel, so let me get something up into view here. All right, and what we have here is the first stage of amplification from the tape head. Okay, right here, this is the board, and you notice this pad here, this pad here, this pad here, and this pad over here. This is where the cables from the tape head connect. Okay, these are the inputs for those cables. Right down in here, if I could stay in frame. Okay, these are the inputs that the cables solder to. So one of the first things I did was to see what was going on that right channel. I used the signal tracer here. Okay, this little signal tracer that I use sometimes for audio, and I started. Okay, let me bring this up. I started probing the right channel. If you notice here, this long solder joint, okay, these are our 2 channels on either side. So I started probing the various points to see if I had amplification, and I had nothing. There was just absolutely nothing coming in, and the left side was doing just fine. Okay, I had amplification throughout the signal path there, and none here. Okay, so obviously I just wanted to remove these cables and just kind of confirm my suspicion that there was no signal coming into the board on the right channel. Okay, and before I thought to do this video, I already removed these cables from the board, so I'm not going to go through the signal tracing aspect of things and move throughout the board on camera and probe around. But rest assured, yes, there was signal on the left, none on the right. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to hook up the signal tracer to these cables and kind of show you what's going on here. Okay, so anyways, I got the cables reversed. This is the left and this black one is the right. Doesn't matter, same difference. But anyways, you can see here on the left, I'll bring this up to the mic near the camera there. Okay, and you can hear we have audio. There's a little noise too, but that's because the cables and all that crap. I have some jumpers and whatnot. So okay, now let me clip onto the Let me clip onto the left, or excuse me, the right channel over here. Okay, let me get that on there. All right. Okay, and you can hear we have nothing. So, what that told me was pretty much what I had confirmed. It confirmed my suspicion, in other words, that there was no signal coming in via the right channel cable to the board. And next step, trace out the cables and just do a simple continuity test, because what popped into my mind was, okay, well, best case scenario, we have a defective cable, a right channel cable. Best case scenario. Worst case scenario, well, we have a problem with the head. So I went ahead and checked the continuity from the end here to the connection points on the head, and this is what I discovered. Okay, so I'm hoping you can see what I'm going to point to here, but there's this this little shield here, shield connection or ground, that was I'm going to move it back here, but it was barely, I mean, it looked like it was in contact with this terminal here on the head, but it wasn't. It was kind of positioned in a way that it looked like it was soldered on there, but you know, it wasn't. It was very, very close to the terminal. The way it was positioned, it looked like it was connected, but that was the problem there. So anyways, so once I connected that, and sure enough, you know, the head was fine. Signal on both channels, audio on both channels. So that's what it turned out to be. There was, in fact, no signal getting from the right channel of the head to the input of the board there. So that was pretty much the gist of it. It just turned out to be a bad solder joint, and you know, not a surprise. There's a lot of that in this equipment, bad solder joints. In fact, once I end this video, I'm going to clean up some things, go through and touch up some solder joints, things like that. I'm probably going to replace a few caps here and there, but other than that, you know, the only other things I really have to do is get some lamps replaced on the dial face down here, order a new belt, and that's really about it. Just more cleanup stuff. Get that, obviously get that piece of shielding soldered back on. And one thing when it comes to soldering onto a head like this, you just have to be fast about it. You can't camp out on there. You just got to go in really fast. You know, have your leads tinned and go in there and just hit and run. That's it. And you can, you know, you can do it, but it's better to avoid it and just use those clips or tags that you just slide on the pins. You know, you see them with phono cartridges, in case you're not aware. And oh, the only other thing that I will have to do is some adjustments, some mechanical adjustments to the mechanism, because the program selector switch, you know, it's just not real responsive. There's some adjustments I have to do at the bottom there, tweak around with that stepped gear and its positioning and all that to get the program selection correct. It's off a bit, so there's a few screws down there that I have to adjust. I won't get into that in this video, but that's about it. Otherwise, as I always say, guys, peace, love, music, and the vintage audio that brings it to your ears. Till next time.
This is a poor man's shoe production.